be on the ballot next week, but they will be on the ballot in November. So at this time, I'll introduce the one of the two candidates who's here this evening. We have Ms. Julie Kay.
Here alphabetically, but it doesn't. I'm number 3 on the ballot. It's the first time I've not gotten the benefit of being called first. All throughout school, I got called first because of my name. Before I tell you about why I should be the next Jefferson County, your next Jefferson County judge, I want to tell you about why, and although I didn't know at the time why I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. I grew up as the child of immigrants. I was born here in the U.S., but my parents were born abroad. And as often happens, us kids have to translate for our family. We'll never forget that I have the power to administer justice fairly to everyone, no matter what their circumstances, and no matter where they come from or what the color of their skin is, who they love. So please vote for me on May 22nd, and I appreciate you all for being up here.
And I look at this enormous Bible here, and it makes me think of one that I used while being sworn in to be a judge. And that was my grandfather's Bible. He was a Baptist preacher in Louisiana.
I also serve on the University of Louisville Alumni Board and taught trial practice at the University of Louisville. I serve on the Kentucky Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers Board, where we seek legislation in order to protect those in the justice system.
As well as those at Pleasant View Baptist Church, where Reverend Bruce J. Shaw is my pastor, for the passing of your pastor, Reverend C. Mackie Daniels. Also, I'm honored to be here because I recall Justice McAnulty, the day that he swore me in, and thinking that one day I would have enough to be judge too. So here I am. A little bit about myself. I'm born and raised right here in Louisville, Kentucky. My parents raised me and my 4 siblings in Crescent Hill, and they taught us to treat everyone with respect, to give our best in all that we do, and do the work that needs to be done, regardless of praise, promotion, or recognition, just because it is the right thing to do. Also knowing how life can throw some trials and tribulations your way, they definitely instilled in us to reach for higher education, for more opportunities. And I can say I threw one of those trials in my own way because I was 16 and pregnant right over here at Central High School. But yet I still graduated valedictorian just 2 months before my daughter's first birthday.
Jefferson County Public Schools here today. Let's give them a round of applause. Morning, come on. We are praying for you. That you have enough courage to stand up to the powers that be, that trying to take control of Jefferson County Public Schools. Now, I've heard by a reliable source that you all are going to challenge. You're not going to lay down, but you're going to challenge the state and litigation. You have until the 30th, I believe, to do so. We're going to pray, and my source tells me, and I have reliable sources, they tell me that you're going to do that, which needs to be done. Because we think that you have the capacity and the genius to lead Jefferson County Public Schools. And we're going to give you our support and our prayer. We're glad to have a young man, amen. Bring us greetings, Superintendent, Jefferson County Public Schools. Marty.
Thank you, Reverend Sutton. I appreciate that. I ran into Reverend Sutton last week on the street, and he invited me to this, and I could not pass it by. He wasn't going to let me pass it by, as you can see. Extremely proud of the work that has taken place over the past 10 months in JCPS, and we will continue to work hard to improve JCPS. We have a lot of improvement to do. Clearly, as I've said many times, we have achievement gaps that are unacceptable. We have kids that are not being successful. It is on us as a school district to make sure we change that. But it is a community-wide issue that we have to be willing to accept and take that challenge. I am thankful for the many people who have reached out to me over the past few weeks and said they are praying for me. I said that I think I'm the most prayed for person in Jefferson County, and I say keep them coming, please. On 60 Minutes, and I don't mean the negative 60-minute story, I mean the positive 60-minute story. And I believe our time at JCPS is right now to build and develop that. And we will look back several years from now and say, this is the time where everybody came together to make a special moment to change outcomes for children. And I believe we are building that in JCPS, and we are building that as a community. And I look forward to that story when we can all celebrate the changes that have happened in Jefferson County Public Schools. And I really appreciate your support. As I finish, I would say this: as you go to vote on Tuesday and in the future, education is the issue of our time. Education is the issue of our time. And no matter where a candidate stands, make sure you know where they stand and make sure that they are a supporter of education, and ask your candidates that they support education and they support public education so that we can move forward and make that 60 Minutes story for JCPS. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Some of them in here. Amen. I have some good lawyers that can help you fight the government. Amen, somebody. Amen. So take that with you, that we want you, and my soul says that you're going to fight the government. And you have until the 30th. The day is what, 18? You have 12 days left, Marty. And we're going to be with you. Is that right? Are we going to be with you? We want public education to stay public education. Is that right? We don't want to be able to take, and you know the school board's budget is greater. Oh yeah. That's why the government wants it. That's why it wants Jefferson County Public School, because the school board's budget is greater.
I represent citizens in every manner of case, in both case, whether it's criminal or civil, divorces, child custody. I represented citizens in whatever their issues they might have. Frankfurt and the Chamber of Commerce for the state of Kentucky was lobbying the legislature to try to change the law where they could hire convicted felons and make it easier to do so. Because a person who is otherwise capable of handling a job.
And voter turnout, and this is encouraging to me. I know to everyone else up on this stage, and also I'd like to thank Judge Edwards for hosting this forum. Now, who I am, I'm Alex Gaddis. I'm running for Jefferson District Court Judge. I can't get up here and say that I'm a native Louisvillian. I'm not. I'm a Louisvillian by choice. I love this city, and I'm never going to leave this city, and I'm going to do everything that I can to make this city the best that I can for as long as I live and I have breath. I'm actually grateful to my former boss, Tom Wine. He's here by and saddened by it, and I want to do everything that I can to bring all of us together. And I want to do that. In fact, one of my primary motives for doing that, it actually comes from the Epistle of James, chapter 2. We learned in James chapter 2 that for us to make distinctions among people before us based on how they look makes us evil judges. And I would never, ever even consider that. And I think that a judge, anyone before a judge needs to know that they are being looked at as equal, created equal, just like everyone else is.
Jefferson District Court, Division 6. I want to be your next judge in that division. You will be able to remember me. I am number 3, and I have 3 L's in my name. So when you go to the ballot and flip it on, I handle shopliftings. We have cases that deal with every type of drug that you can imagine. I have victims of car theft.
I love working with kids. I've coached many basketball teams, both in high school and at the grade school level. I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, and I've always been interested in the law. I had family. My grandfather was a judge here in Jefferson County, as well as my father. And I took my stab at the LSAT, and next thing I knew, I was attending the Louisville School of Law, Brandeis School of Law.
Man, I'd like to talk about what everybody said. Basically, anything that anybody said they've done, I've done that. So a woman
She's unable to be here tonight only because she is ill today. So she expresses her regrets, and she does express her respect for this forum. She respectfully is requesting your vote, but she cannot be here this evening. All right, that takes us to our final judicial race. We have one contested race in the circuit court. This race only has 2 participants, so it will not be on the primary ballot next week, but it will be on your ballot in November. Both of the candidates are here this evening. We have Annie O'Connell and we have Judge Darrell Lavery. So we will go in alphabetical order. We'll begin with Judge Lavery.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Darrell Lavery, and I am your Jefferson Circuit Court Judge. I've been honored to be your Jefferson Circuit Court Judge since last summer. When I took over for Judge Jim Shake, many of you know him, he was on the Circuit Court for 24 years. Did a fine job, and I'm happy to have his endorsement in this race.
All right, our next candidate in the Circuit Court Division 2 seat, we have Annie O'Connell.
Here this evening. Good evening. Good evening. I'm very honored and excited to be speaking to all of you tonight. As Judge Edwards mentioned, I am running for Circuit Court Division 2. Because there are no more than 2 of us candidates in this race, I will not have a primary, but you will see me on your ballot in November.
Good evening, everyone. Lift that up. First of all, I want to express my sincere humility. We have lost a giant in our community this week, and I know I stand on his shoulders and many others. So, to our family here in the faith, I just want to offer my prayers, love and support through this difficult time, and also reflecting on Justice McAnulty. There's a lot of brevity in this moment. And so what I won't do is ask for your vote. I'm going to respect the pulpit. I'm not going to do that. But let me share my testimony and my vision, okay? My name is Charles Booker. I'm running for state representative for the 43rd District. This is where I'm from. All my family's from here. Actually, I'm from 35th and Market. And when I was a kid, I talked to my mom. And I was asking her, why are things the way they are? Why is there so much brokenness? I remember this as a child. I know I'm a little special. But I asked her this as a child. And you know what? It put me on a path because I knew then I wanted to be a part of the solution. And so that's what I've done. Growing up, I went to law school. There's a lot of Brandeis alum in the room. And after law school, I went to Congress, Metro Council, went to Frankfurt to actually work in the legislature, and then a director of Fish and Wildlife. Now mind you, this young guy from 35th Market is a director for the Department of Fish and Wildlife. I'll tell you more about that. Come back, work in the mayor's office, top to bottom, doing developments, national work across this country around gun violence reduction. All of this was for a purpose. Because see, I'm from a family of ministers too, Judge. And I was told to study and show yourself approved. And that's what I've been doing, because we need someone in Frankfurt that will be effective. I've done it in Frankfurt, and I want to do it for us because the power is in the people.
All right, that brings us.
That's not a frat brother. But he is a UK alum. First, I'd like to give honor to God for allowing me to be here today. It's an important race that we have in the 43rd District. We have 7 people step up to be elected for this race. And I'd like to thank Colonel Stevenson, Charles Booker, Kathleen Parks, Phil Baker, Jackson Andrews, for putting their hat in the race. It's not easy. This has been a very positive race that we have run. I honestly have developed friendships with each candidate. And I look forward to them working with me as their elected. It's affecting my community. My community cannot get good jobs. The records cannot be clean. This needs to change. The county attorney, I talked to one candidate. He's given me an opportunity to sit down and talk to him about criminal justice reform. Hopefully, whoever's elected county attorney will give me that opportunity. But one has promised to give me that opportunity. to talk. Please send me a written reception.
Commissioner Kathleen Parks.
Good evening, everybody. It's so wonderful to see so many coming out this evening because it shows your concern. You know, if we all work together, together we can all win. Say that. We all work together. Together we can all win. We can do it. If we put our heads together, our minds together, East End, West End. You know, it's a tale of two cities, rich and poor in this district. This is a very serious race. This is the final call. This is it right here. In 2018, you know, how far have we come? And how far do we still need to go? With respect to the Me Too movement, I'm so happy to see more women involved in politics than ever before in history to opt into. So I have a proven track record. I'm the former chair of the Kentucky Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression. I started a National Action Network chapter here. Yes, I did that. But more importantly, it's not so much about me as it is about you, the taxpayers, and what you want. What we need is a Marshall Plan in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. When you send me to Frankfurt, we're going to have that, a Marshall Plan in education, affordable health care, affordable housing, jobs, entrepreneurship for our young people to get them off the street, to stop gun violence, to stop crime. I'll talk to you about how I'm going to do that at the reception. Thank you, and I ask for your vote.
Good evening, and it is an honor to be before the leaders that this community counts on. See, it's going to take all of us to stop the dismantling of America. It's going to take not just these people who have stepped into the public arena, it's going to take you and you and you. And so I have put my hat in, so when my great-great-grandkids ask me, what were you doing when it was being dismantled? I can say, I fought a good fight with good people like Mark. So I served in the Air Force for 27 years and retired as a colonel. And during that time, to make this short, I've done everything they've done globally. I've been in Kuwait negotiating contracts on behalf of America. I've been in Bosnia stopping crisis. I've been on the battlefield dodging bullets. I've done those things and practiced law and made sure that America could win. Now I'm ready for Kentucky to win. I'm ready for this city to win. I'm ready for you to win. Maternity leave for up to a year if you want it. Why can't we? Education is quite simple. Fund the pensions. They've already done the math. As far as getting people out of jail and making the system work for our kids and not having it be dangerous to walk, eat, drive, get coffee while black. We've got to do it together. So that's what I bring. If I can unite the international communities, if I can find homes for the refugees, if I can work at the United Nations and represent America, then I can go to Frankfurt for you and make sure that each family is strong, loved, heard, and we will be the generation that ends hunger, homelessness, and restores kindness to our communities.
More people left to hear from before we have a couple questions. I'm going to move on to the next race. It's for Metro Council District 1. Present here this evening, we have Amira Granger.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Amira Granger. I'm going to try to hit certain points in these 3 minutes. I have my time too. So, again, my name is Amira. I was born and raised in Louisville, so I'm a Louisville girl, and I love Louisville. Raised in the Newburgh area by my grandparents, B.K. Granger and Barthenia Granger. My grandmother did domestic work and worked in a factory, and my granddad retired from General Electric. My dad is Mari Granger, and Vicki Bishop is my mother. And so you can paint that picture where a blended family, an extended family helped make me who I am today. I graduated from Seneca High School. I then graduated from the University of Louisville with a degree in liberal studies for education. So I have a minor in Pan-African studies and in Spanish. It took me a while to kind of figure out exactly where I wanted to be because I did want to do something meaningful. I thought it was education, but it was a little bit different. And so eventually I found my way into social work, and I was always in that area. So I got my master's in the last 3 years from Spalding University, my master's in social work, and like our elected officials. A lot of times we trust that people will do the right thing. We hope that they will do the right thing, but we need to start pushing and we need to start demanding that people do more, and we need to come to expect more, not only in them, but from us. I think there's an urgency that we have to think about too. Have you ever been in a car with someone and they maybe drive a bit different than you, and you think to yourself, I'm not riding with them anymore. I can't do this. Okay. Now, additionally, you may have a situation where we have tragedy or surprises that come up in our lives, and we realize that life is precious and it's not always guaranteed that we will have tomorrow to make those differences. And so I will talk to you more about my platform over there too, but I want us to think about that. How long are we willing to wait for the needs and changes in our community that we have long waited for in District 1? I've talked to many people knocking on doors from St. Denis to Lake Dreamland to Parkland to Park Duval to Chickasaw and parts of the Algonquin area, and many people feel left out and they feel that their quality of life is being ignored. I will not ignore you, and I want you to know that you don't have to wait with me. Please, I humbly ask for your vote on May 22nd. My name is Amira Granger, and I'm here to pay it forward.
We have running for Metro Council District 3, we have Keisha Dorsey here this evening.
I'm not going to run through my profile. I'm going to take these few moments to talk about my passion. My passion starts with being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of coming home to ill-lit streets or sirens and random gunshots. I'm sick and tired of walking past abandoned houses where the grass is taller than me, or peeping out my window to see how many people are going into the illegal boarding house, or even wondering about the random slumlords that let people even live there. I'm sick and tired. I'm tired of being told we need to pay for basic needs like speed bumps and street lights when you preach to me about health equity and social justice. I'm tired of having to keep up with my community council with Metro Council. Please submit a request and open records. I'm tired of the political one-night stands where you ask me for my vote, but then you leave and then you don't show up until the next election. I'm tired of voter registration when what I need is voter motivation. Although I have on red shoes, I'm not Dorothy, and you're not going to run me away from my home. So let me tell you about why I'm running. Angela Davis said, I am no longer accepting the things that I cannot change, but I am changing the things that I can't accept. So I will no longer accept politics over people. I will no longer accept leaders over servitude. I will no longer accept what you're telling me is what we call antics. I will no longer accept that. You must give me, you must deliver what you say, and we will hold you accountable. I will not settle for your inadequate assertions or generalizations about what you plan to do. Just tell me what you can. Hometown girl. Vote Katie for D3.
Ballot on Tuesday for county attorney running for the Democratic primary for county attorney. We have Brent Ackerson present.
Thank you all for coming tonight. I am Brent Ackerson. I am an attorney here in Louisville for the last 17 years who has started off his career prior to Louisville as a public defender in Akron, Ohio. My very first jury trial still hangs on my wall today. The city advocacy work I handle on my clients. I handle a lot of business litigation. I handle discrimination actions, wrongful terminations, whistleblowers. I sue jails. I'm suing Warren County Jail right now over a employment whistleblower discrimination matter. I have consistently had a passion for the law. Over the last 9 years, I've also been one of your outspoken Democratic Metro Council members. And I have prided myself as one of your council members as someone who speaks his mind. I don't go along to get along. I don't play politics well in the sense that I'm willing to take on a losing battle. Oftentimes in politics, they tell you if you can't take the beach, you should walk away. For those of you in this room who know me, you know that I charge the beach regardless of if I can win or lose.
Ryan Fenwick, and I'm running for mayor in the Democratic primary. I knew I wanted to run for mayor when I was working with a large coalition of West End residents fighting a methane plant that was supposed to be placed in the California neighborhood. Hundreds of volunteer hours went into stopping that methane plant. People called the Metro Council members, they wrote letters to the editor. They did everything they could do to try to stop it. But eventually, it all came down to a vote with regulators that were appointed by the mayor to make the decision. The mayor had sent expert after expert out into the community to tell people just what a great idea the methane plant was going to be. He said people should feel lucky that they were going to have that methane plant in their backyard. But the community knew better. They researched it. They knew that at best, it was going to be another source of pollution in their backyard, where they already have the worst air quality in the entire city. At worst, it was a chance for an explosion right in their backyard, right by where their kids play. Ultimately, that board decided not to approve the methane plant, and the developer backed out of their plans, mostly because this community fought so hard to prevent it. But at that time, I was earning my master's degree in urban planning, and I was becoming a lawyer, and I knew that the government shouldn't work like that. There was no reason in the world why this mayor should have aligned with those developers. I'm here tonight asking for your vote. I'm Ryan Fenwick, and I'm on the ballot because I want to value your community's voices. I want to genuinely listen to input from people living in May 22nd.
All right, what we're going to do, we do have two more candidates who I did not realize were here. I'm going to let them speak. We're going to have one prepared question that our committee put together, and then we're going to take 3 questions from the audience. All right, next candidate you'll hear from is running for Metro Council, 5th District, LaVon Clack.
How y'all doing tonight? I'm very honored to be here today. Today I'm not going to talk too long. Y'all been out here for a long time today. If y'all go outside of the building and look to the west, you see a crumbling infrastructure, abandoned houses, potholes in the streets, vacant lots. We have a real opioid crisis. We have a real homeless crisis. All of these things need to be looked at and evaluated, and a change needs to take place before our next. We also living in a food desert. We don't have healthy, adequate food sources. We have 0 sit-down restaurants. And it's just like, another thing I want to talk about is the youth and young adults in District 5. Like, they have nothing to do, for the most part. They out here committing all the crimes. Some of them may have mental health issues that's going undiagnosed or untalked about. And all of that needs help. And we all need help. We all need to work together, pull our resources together, and change the environment that we live in, and change the structure and the atmosphere that we live in, and gain some pride as residents.
We have Michael Craven.
A lot of people told me not to come down. But I'm here. I know Kathleen very well, and she's got the victory on it right now. I can pick them out. We've been campaigning together. I really admire her. She's got it. She's on fire. I'm doing this for a reason. I grew up here in Louisville, Kentucky, J-Town, and my uncle owned his own business down on Bully Road Hill, which is the old Frankfurt Avenue, and Stevenson Hill and Velvet Avenue. I grew up down there with the Bissicks, Colletts, and Eversons. I love this country middle of the state. U of L's on the comeback. University of Louisville and the city of Louisville's on the comeback. We're both going to make it. Why did I get in this race? I think you all have seen the news today. Texas, San Jose, 10, 900 children. On Pentecost Sunday, that's why I wore the red. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. This Pentecost Sunday, these women in Texas are going to be crying and mourning for 9 children that will be on summer break in 2 weeks. This has got to stop. And the pulpit, the power of the pulpit, and the power of prayers want to do it. Now you guys have got it here. I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to run for this office. I'm going against a long-time meeting there. You see Vicki. Who endorsed her? Our governor. He pops his mouth off about our teachers. Hell, you have a right to protect your daggone pension fund. That's what they work for. Please stop. Hey, this is a joke. This is pathetic. And I'm a union card carrier. Don't forget that. I work for Ford Motor Company. I represented people. I took many of courses. The two best courses I ever took was civil rights and union labor for union labor leaders, and psychology for union labor leaders. If you don't have a course in psychology, you're finished. You're done. I need to beat Vicki, and I'm going to do it with your help. You got the phones. I know you got friends that are Republicans. Okay? Now, when Mitt there just popped his mouth off about the teachers, I didn't have a chance to win this race, but now I can win it. Get on the phone and tell them who I am. Kathleen knows me, and we're going to turn this city around. With the card of these guys right here.
Being here, I think I want to start saying thank you for being involved, because we can't change anything if we don't get engaged in the process. I wanted to let you all know that I am a native Louisvillian. I grew up in a very middle-class family, and one thing I never really had to worry about too much. My dad was laid off for a while, but I always knew another job would come. And I think that's an important aspect of what we got to make sure exists across our entire community. I've been volunteering in West Louisville for nearly 2 decades. I've built homes in West Louisville. I've picked up litter in West Louisville, where I knew that my dad had a connection and he was going to find another job. We got to make sure those connections exist for every citizen, so that if they're out of work, they're going to be able to turn to someone and say, brother, can you help me out? Sister, can you help me out? I need a job. Will you help me? And not everybody has that opportunity, and we have to find a way to provide that opportunity. And when I'm elected your next mayor, I'm going to work every day to make sure that happens. I'm going to work to make sure that we have safety in our community, that we have respect amongst one another, and that we're connected to one another. I do have a primary race on Tuesday, and I don't know that there's that many people who will see my name on the ballot on Tuesday, but I'm here because each Louisvillian matters, and I want to talk to you today about what's to come for Louisville, and I want to be part of that future with you. Please vote for me, Angela Lee, for mayor on Tuesday, May 22nd.
System. I ask, education is an important issue for West Louisville and the city at large. What efforts do you plan to employ, if elected, to improve educational opportunities for youth and adults desiring to improve their lot?
Currently, as a community liaison, I do a lot of work to try to inspire young people who are not involved in athletics or not really engaged in school in the way that they really need to be so they can be successful and finish on time. And so with that, I would say there's 2 things. With my campaign, we talk about expecting more, but with expecting more, there comes some responsibility with that. We all have to work harder. We also have to be more intentional. And I think we have to encapsulate all of our issues. So I think that the school district has to work with the community and come around to the problems together. Now with that, I'll say sometimes the city has reneged on different promises to our youth. We don't provide as many jobs as we used to in the summer. The summer works. We had the TARP passes that only happened one summer recently, and then the next summer there was nothing. We know that the summer comes time and time again, so we should be prepared to support our youth when that time comes. Additionally, there needs to be more partnerships to make sure that there's opportunities in the schools. I'm the president of our PTSA at Iroquois High School. How many of us in this room are members of the PTA? Even if you don't have children. Even if your children have already finished. Even if your children are older. We all have to take some responsibility in this, and I think that that's the issue. It's not just the leaders, it's not just JCPS. And then lastly, let me say, we have to listen to our youth. I am a youth methods trainer. I'm also a youth program quality assessor. And a lot of times we have programming where we do not listen to the young people in terms of what we offer, when we offer it, and whether or not it is working or enlightening for them. And if we don't let them have a seat at the table, and a position to give input that we implement, then we are also doing a disservice to our young people. Thank you.
So first of all, I am a JCPS grad. But what I would say the first thing I would do to address that issue is to look at our safety net resources. So a lot of times what I perceive as us moving forward is a lot of silos. JCPS has a plan, the community has a plan, Metro Council has a plan, you have various nonprofits that have a plan, but nobody works together. So what I would like to see is an interweaving of a safety net that can support not only JCPS, but the larger community that provides safety net resources, other nonprofits, community centers, the Boys and Girls Club, so that not only when you're at school, you have a great infrastructure with the teachers, but some of that is what the kids do when they get home. Who's there to provide an education or food even when they get home? So building and strengthening those safety net resources. Secondly, I would also like to talk about, we said adult and children. I think we also need to look back at our trade. I'm seeing everywhere that there's a shortage in trades, but strengthening our trade infrastructure for our adults and our children who may not necessarily want to go to college. Let's just be real about it. Everyone has a unique opportunity and a talent, and I think we need to look at ways to foster that. So if you ask me what I would do, it would be starting with talking with you and then working with people who already exist in those individual silos and working to connect us to unite together. That's what I would do to you or do for you, and that's what I owe to you.
Out of these schools and take these people with me so they can talk to these kids and the kids can see the options that are available to them. Most of the things is they're not aware of all the resources that they actually have access to. So they just wind up in the neighborhoods playing with their friends. But if we go into the schools and actually integrate the schools and take these programs with us, the children have the option on that day to decide what they want to do, who they want to talk to. I grew up I went to the Black Achievers Program. My brothers was in Whitney M. Scholars, the BILL program. We was aware of those things because they actually came to the school to talk to us. If they didn't come to the school to talk to us, we probably wouldn't have knew nothing about it. So I would work diligently as far as coming inside of the schools and bringing the programs inside of the schools so y'all have access to see the options that are available to you. That's it.
In the area, what strategies and innovative ideas do you plan to employ to increase business development and employment opportunities in West Louisville and other desperate areas of the city?
You're taking the words right out of my mouth. Economic empowerment, economic empowerment, and economic empowerment. We need a Marshall Plan, like we had after World War II. We need to rebuild, starting with the family structure. Our family structure is broken, number one. It starts in the home, building those blocks and helping the children. But in terms of an economic plan, it starts with education, for example. Instead of social studies, why don't we have a civics curriculum? All right? That way we're teaching the young people the nuts and bolts of how the system works, so that one day they can become a public official like many of us already are and want to be. In terms of the curriculum, why not just, instead of just focusing on careers, why not entrepreneurship? Starting your own business. Many young people, when they graduate, as Keisha mentioned, may not be ready to go to college, but they want to start their own business, you know? Clean energy. We've got to get to where we need to be. The future is clean energy, renewable energy, solar. You know, for example, putting solar roofs on buildings and structures. That would really help the infrastructure. You know, light rail. For years, I've been advocating for us to have a light rail system in our city. These are things that we need to be thinking about, you know, for the future. Entrepreneurship is number one in terms of helping young people understand ownership, owning their own businesses. Jobs. Okay, jobs, of course. Everyone needs a job, you know, but we've got to have the proper training for the types of jobs that young people need to be prepared for. In the technologies, all right, the skills, the trades, work with the businesses, work with the unions, you know, work with the community organizations, the churches. It's going to take all of us
to build these kinds of bridges so that we can repair the infrastructure that has been broken for over 60 years. It's not going to happen overnight, but through a Marshall Plan, through a Recovery Act, we can rebuild West Louisville. You know, we lost big time through the merger. When they merged the city and county government, and we lost the 12 wards, we lost the 12 automatic wards, we lost power that we didn't realize that we had at that particular time. We need to regain that power, regain that structure, and then we can rebuild the economic structure of West Louisville.
Thank you. Right on 39th in River Park across from Rolando's Barbershop. My mom and dad still live there. My dad is here. And the thing they taught us most is we must do for ourselves. Number one, we have to build bridges so that we take care of ourselves like many other communities do. And then we design it and then tell the government what we need. Not everybody is ready for college, but everybody has a special talent. So we need to bring back the trade schools. We need to make sure that whatever is in that person is brought out to the community. Number three, I've already been doing this work since I retired as a colonel and came back to this city. For 7 years, I've been gone for 27, learning about things and protecting America. You're glad I'm on that ridge. But I've come back and opened up a nonprofit law firm to serve middle-income families. And the big thing that comes up is, how do I start a business? How can I be an entrepreneur? So I've been doing the Women's Business Circle. I've been working with One West to bring economic development back to West Louisville. These things are already in action. The only thing that's missing is that we work together. We don't need another program. We just need to work together and make sure that we meet people where they're at. That we go to them, take the programs to them and say, what is it do you want your life to be for? And then make that happen.
I tell my story. I share my testimony a lot. I grew up on food stamps and free lunch, all through school. And I saw my mom go without food so that I could eat. That struggle's real. That's my story. And that's what I'm going to take to Frankfurt, because our community has been broken for too long, Reverend. And it has to change. Now see, one of my pillars in my campaign is economic empowerment. We need to be building our own, creating wealth for our community so that dollars are circulating so that we can dictate the shapes and the structures in our community. That includes efforts like I've been doing with the Louisville Independent Business Alliance, helping us grow our own and sustain our own. And also looking at opportunities like cooperative economics and supporting things like empowerment zones. How can we create incentives so that we can develop and that we can sustain? And let me say this, it's going to take someone with the wherewithal and the understanding to build coalitions to do this stuff in Frankfort, Kentucky, and I've done that. And that's why when we talk about trades and opportunity with organized labor, that I've been endorsed by several unions. And mind you, neither one of my parents graduated high school. We didn't come from a labor family, but I walked into these rooms and said, look, our families are struggling. And organized labor fights for the little guy. And if we stand together now, not only can we help our families, but we can fight back and take our future. And that's why the IBEW's endorsed me. That's why Teachers 89 and 783 has endorsed me. That's why IUE and CWA has endorsed me. And the list goes on. Not because I'm some special kid. I'm from 35th Market. But I believe that we can make real change. And we need someone that has the capacity and the passion and the experience. Now let me say this. We talk a lot about issues in the community, and we say that we're looking at our young folks. And when we talk about crime, we often say, let's look at opportunities, because we got to look at that comprehensively. Well, look at my face. I represent that. And I'm standing with some opponents that are esteemed, and I'm on their shoulders, to be quite honest. And Mark, you told me, Charles, you're the future. And Colonel Stevenson's told me, Charles, you're the future. Well, let me tell you, the future's right now. Let's send the future to Frankfurt, and let's build real change. We got to do it together, but we're going to do it right now. Support Charles.
That time before a person comes around and repeat the same answers. But there's one answer I'm not going to repeat, and that's going to be, or should I say agree with, is Charles Looker, you are the future. I agree with that, but the time is now. And I'm the person for now. I've opened my business from my house on North Christian Parkway in West Louisville. So I run my business from my house. 2 doors down, we have another law office running their business from the house. But it's not important about running business from the house and bringing economic development to Louisville. What's going to happen to West Louisville? What's going to happen when we bring that economic development to West Louisville? And my residents cannot work there. So I'm trying to take a different answer and go with, we need to make sure the citizens will be able to work in our community. And how are we going to do that? Criminal justice reform. Make sure we clean up the guys' records to where they can be employed. If you're not able to open your own business, be eligible to work for somebody in that business. So it's important that we have criminal reform. Again, I appreciate all your attendance today. We're going to have answers in a few minutes. I enjoy meeting and greeting, talking to you, and my hope for the future as District 43 representative, and my hope for the future as, like saying, with all the candidates up here, we're going to work together. And like I said, I want the judges to work with me, who's ever elected and not elected, to work with me on criminal justice reform. You don't understand how important that is in our community. That's very, very important. So I take a pledge for each judge here and county attorney. Will you work with me?